the blueprint of cleansing. So this is an interesting idea, and it drives back to everything we've talked about. Essentially, the human body is a series of tubes, capillary tunnels, and veins, arteries, right? It's just a series of tubes. Your digestive apparatus is one long tube. You guys aware of that? It's not broken up into compartments. I mean, you have your large intestine, you have your cecum, your ileum, your duodenum, your small intestine, your esophagus, right? These little compartments, but essentially it's one long tube of like 36 feet, some people think, from your mouth all the way out to the other end. I find that to be a really interesting perspective and a very simplified perspective to understand, is that everything that starts here somehow has to come out the other end. And that's why liquid plumber is such a cool idea, because that's what it is. You're putting something in that's liquefying all that sedimentary material in your intestines, and it's just like sponging it up, liquefying it, and driving it out. Right? Who here's had a colonic before? Who here's had like a bunch of colonics? Who here's done 10 colonics in 3 weeks? It gets about like 7 or 8. It gets like, oh man, okay. Whoa, it's like you're working out your intestines, like lifting weights. And you're like, whoa, I need a break. They're not working quite right. But it's like colon hydrotherapy to me has saved more lives than I could possibly count. I mean, no joke. There's people that have been into religion, into theology their whole life, and they've been searching for the Holy Ghost. They've been searching for a spiritual experience. And then they have their first colonic. And all of a sudden, there's like, they just found, their idea of God or the Creator. I'm not joking. I've seen it. I've seen it with people that come over to Hawaii, and then they start doing cleansing, they start juicing, they do their first colonic, and it's like, there's stuff flowing through them, and all that like parasitic material and all that congestion, the mucoid plaque starts coming out. And then all of a sudden, the energy, the chakra energy, the flow of energy starts to circulate, and they're like, oh man, okay, whoa. And then that's why you have this huge raw food movement. That's why you have these, evangelical raw foodists out there. It's because they've had that experience. I guarantee it. And, so that's a really interesting idea. And by the way, a part of detoxification, it'll come up later, but just to throw it out there, one really great way to mitigate the detox process, or that shock, that Hertzheimer syndrome, that shock effect, is colonics. As you're juicing, getting all that cemented material, what a colonic does is it basically is helping, warm water is being thrusted up your colon. And if you've never done it, it sounds way weirder than it actually does. When you do it, you're like, what? Oh, whoa, this feels like good. It feels pretty good. Like, it's very soft and nurturing, and it actually feels like really hydrating. What's happening is that they're hydrating your intestinal tract, your small intestine and your colon, and that starts to break up the water. That warm water starts to break up all that cemented material that's on the lining of your intestines. It breaks it up and liquefies it, and then it starts coming out. It's a trip too, because there's a tube where you can see everything that's coming out. And it's like, I luckily for me, I've never seen anything really weird. It's just been like, really just like liquid fecal matter just coming out, just like what you would expect. But people have reported some stuff like parasites, worms, long ropey material. That's the mucoid plaque. A lot of people think like, oh, mucoid plaque, that's just a theory. Ain't no theory when you see it coming out. When people are telling you that like foots of ropey materials coming out of them, and then they come out feeling like a brand new person, like you start to realize like, whoa, this is deep. This is not a joke. This is real. Like aliens. I just rewatched that the other day for some weird reason. And that scene, that scene? Like, where do you think all this stuff comes from? These ideas come from? It has to be founded in reality to some extent. Anyways, let's move on.